On Wednesday, August 26, 2020, in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, the United States Coast Guard cutter, known as the Kimble, was engaged in a mission tirelessly patrolling and conducting operations for national security, search and rescue, and fisheries. The crew had been working tirelessly for weeks, and the sun-drenched deck of the cutter left them feeling quite fatigued, making every day seem repetitive. They longed for a break from the monotony. After a long day of work on that particular Wednesday, in the late afternoon the captain made an unexpected decision: to halt the voyage in the middle of the ocean. The weather conditions were scorching, making it an ideal time for a refreshing swim in the cool waters of the Pacific. Consequently, the anchor was dropped, and the crew was informed of an opportunity for a swim call. Following some stringent safety precautions, the stage was set for an extraordinary marine adventure. A small boat manned by additional crew members stood sentinel 50 yards off the ship's side. An armed watchguard was vigilant for the presence of oceanic predators, and a dedicated rescue station was at the ready. With their inflatable unicorn floats in tow, the crew prepared to seize a moment of respite and leisure. The day was perfect, and spirits were high as crew members gleefully immersed themselves in the cool embrace of the Pacific. Laughter and camaraderie filled the air as they reveled in their well-deserved break. It was an idyllic scene, a brief interlude of carefree bliss in the midst of their demanding mission. Yet as the sun cast a golden hue on the water's surface, a sudden spine-tingling message pierced the tranquility. Shark! Shark! The alert had come from the ship's bridge personnel, who had spotted a menacing presence in the vicinity. Instantly, the ship's deck crew sprung into action, sounding the emergency shark alarm. In an instant, chaos ensued in the ocean as crew members scattered in all directions, frantically seeking refuge from the encroaching danger. Some clambered up the ladder on the fantail, while others sprinted towards the ship's stern. A few brave souls made a daring dash for the small boat anchored 50 yards away. Heaving lines were thrown into the water, providing a lifeline for their shipmates who needed a swift escape from the perilous waters. The unfolding drama was nothing short of cinematic. A powerful and formidable predator shark, suspected to be a longfin mako or a pelagic thresher, lurked beneath the surface, casting a shadow over this once serene escapade. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel as we investigate the consequences of sharks coming in close proximity to U.S. aircraft carriers and ships by uncovering what unfolds next in the story. From necessity to tradition, naval swim calls. Back in a time when maintaining personal hygiene was considered a luxury while aboard a ship, fresh water was an extremely valuable resource. In those days, amenities like showers were non-existent, prompting captains to drop anchor in calm waters and issue the command to disembark and cleanse themselves. This practice, known today as a swim call, was born out of necessity. Fast forward to the present day, and this centuries-old naval tradition remains cherished among sailors. During these events, the ship's engines are powered down, allowing the crew to enjoy a refreshing dip in the ocean. Typically, this social occasion is most prevalent in locations with hot climates. However, not all sailors are fortunate, as those aboard submarines have had to brave icy waters on occasion. On aircraft carriers, the process involves leaping off the aircraft elevator. To enhance the experience, the ship's cooks ignite charcoal grills on the fantail, filling the air with the enticing aroma of sizzling steaks. Torpedo men raid the torpedo's storage for ice-cold beer, setting up an ad hoc bar near the fantail, creating an atmosphere that exudes bravado as sailors return to the ship from the water. However, there's a catch. Navigating the open sea can be rather daunting, especially when you consider leaping from an aircraft carrier into a completely different ecosystem, where you no longer hold the top position in the food chain. Unwanted visitors may be lurking nearby, including sharks, sea snakes, or venomous jellyfish. Additionally, there's the risk of a potential enemy attack since the crew is temporarily off their duties. This poses a potential threat to the ship's defense and operations. Consequently, even during a swim call, safety measures are stringent. This is why a number of sailors opt to stay on board as lookouts and lifeguards, ensuring the safety of their shipmates. The USCG Kimble Shark Encounter. In the case of the USCG Kimble, a vigilant metalsmith petty officer first class named Samuel Cintron was tasked with keeping watch for sharks on the deck. When the appearance of a shark sent shockwaves through the crew, who had been casually enjoying their time in the ocean just minutes earlier, the commanding officer of the deck urgently instructed Cintron to take action and neutralize the creature. Ironically, this commanding officer was known for her deep affection for animals, but the situation demanded a different response on that particular day. As crew members hastily made their way to the ship's ladder, open stern notch and the boat, Cintron displayed remarkable accuracy and fired several bursts to divert the shark away from the swimmers, who were only a few feet away. After each burst, the shark would turn away momentarily, but then persistently return towards the shipmates. Meanwhile, the remaining crew on the deck continued to guide people out of the water while maintaining a clear line of sight on the shark.
Hesitation, he took aim, made the judgment call where the shark was in relation to the crew, and fired several rounds accurately at the shark, right over top of it, right around it, to push it out of the way.
A spokesperson for Kimble explained that it wasn't as chaotic as the scene from Jaws, but once everyone grasped the situation, they acted with determination. Everyone stayed focused and worked together to address the issue. The small boat quickly resembled a vessel crowded with search and rescue survivors. Fortunately, everyone, including the inflatable unicorns, safely evacuated the water without any injuries. The sole injury recorded during the incident occurred to one crew member who scraped his knee while boarding the ship. Interestingly, the cut was right in the center of a shark's teeth tattoo on his knee. As for the shark, Coast Guard officials indicated that they did not believe it suffered any injuries, and it eventually joined a group of smaller sharks, swimming away with them. It was likely driven by curiosity and not actively seeking a meal. This incident marked one of the rare encounters of sharks with U.S. Navy vessels. This rarity is due to the fact that sharks infrequently come into contact with aircraft carriers, as these ships operate far out at sea, away from the areas where sharks are typically abundant. Nevertheless, if a shark were to venture too close to an aircraft carrier, several potential outcomes could occur. First thing, the shark would likely be deterred by the enormous size of the aircraft carrier, as well as the noise and activity generated by the ship's crew. U.S. Navy's shark safety protocols. However, on occasion, if these creatures linger near the ship due to being drawn to the waste discarded overboard, the U.S. Navy has well-established protocols in position to safeguard the well-being of all individuals on board. So what's the strategy when these formidable predators approach too closely? It entails a sequence of measures carefully executed to navigate the situation without causing harm to either humans or sharks. Step 1. Sounding the alarm. At first, the shark alarm would sound just like it did on the USCG Kimble. This would trigger the ship's crew into swift action, broadcasting a vivid alert throughout the loudspeakers. In a heartbeat, sailors would exit the water, gathering on deck to dive into a mesmerizing shark spectacle. Well, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come face-to-face with these incredible creatures. Step 2. Surveillance. Now, shark surveillance would be initiated. The ship's lookouts would diligently keep a keen watch for any signs of shark activity. They would employ binoculars and various surveillance tools to track the movements of the sharks and ensure that they do not pose a threat by approaching swimmers or the ship. Step 3. Shark talk. Transitioning to the subsequent stage, this is where the situation takes an intriguing turn. The U.S. Navy has a specialized team of experts known as marine species observers, who would be assigned the responsibility of recognizing and interacting with the sharks. As you might have guessed, these individuals would communicate with the sharks. Of course, not using any verbal language, rather they employ underwater speakers to emit sounds intended to dissuade the sharks from nearing the ship. Much like having a cordial discussion with these majestic creatures, courteously encouraging them to swim in a different direction. Step 4. Herding. If the sharks continue to approach, the Navy would employ a technique known as herding to delicately guide the sharks away from the ship. To achieve this, the crew would probably utilize non-lethal methods of deterrence to dissuade the sharks from approaching any closer. These methods might include the use of light flashes, like those emitted by a spotlight or a laser pointer. These deterrents are specifically designed to startle the sharks and create discomfort, prompting them to swim away from the aircraft carrier. Step 5. Intense preventive action. Still, if the shark were to persist in approaching the aircraft carrier, the crew would need to consider more drastic measures to safeguard the ship and its personnel. These measures could include deploying specialized shark control devices like a shark net or an electronic shark deterrent. In extreme cases where the shark still continues its approach or suddenly appears too close to the vessel, as observed in the USCG Kimble incident, the crew would also resort to firing upon the animal. However, taking such actions is not a straightforward decision. Challenges of shooting at sharks in water. And the reason is that shooting at a shark in the water can be entirely ineffective. In the best case scenario, it might startle the shark, and in the worst case scenario, the bullets could ricochet off the water surface rather than penetrating it, potentially endangering nearby swimmers. Sharks, being naturally cautious creatures, tend to circle and scrutinize their prey for an extended period before taking action. Therefore, having a dedicated lookout is a sensible safety measure. but resorting to shooting at the shark might not be. While the watch guard on the USCG Kimble did succeed in firing bullets at the shark, there remain significant risks associated with this approach. That is because bullets fired into water typically either fragment within a short distance or come to a complete halt in under 6 feet or so, resulting in what appears to be a minor explosion. Furthermore, the physics of shooting bullets underwater is markedly different from shooting them in the air. So much so that even a .50 caliber bullet would travel merely 1 foot into the water before losing its lethality. In response to this issue, modern specialized underwater ammunition features an innovative design with needle-shaped projectiles that closely resemble actual needles. Medevac responds to shark attacks. In the worst-case scenario, if a shark manages to bypass all safety measures and attacks a swimmer during a swim call, a Medevac helicopter would be summoned to transport the injured person to a nearby hospital. This precise situation occurred in 2018, showcasing the remarkable skill of a San Francisco Coast Guard crew. They efficiently lifted a man who had been bitten by a shark from a moving boat and transferred him to the hovering helicopter. Subsequently, the patient was flown to Stanford University Medical Center for medical treatment. Training excellence. Medevac training is rigorous, preparing emergency responders for various disasters such as shark attacks, search and rescue missions, or large-scale events like an earthquake. To successfully evacuate a severely injured person from the scene, including shark attacks, their helicopter hovers in place, factoring in weather conditions, visibility, and fuel capacity. Then, crew members lower a basket with utmost care to reach and bring the injured individuals to safety. The Medevac team typically remains on site for just 30 minutes, during which they assist in loading the patient using braces and a hoist. They also tend to the patient's needs during the journey to the hospital. The vital checklist. But before the Coast Guard helicopter springs into action, a checklist is filled out. It's a sequence of essential aspects to brief the Coast Guard flight surgeon swiftly, ensuring a safe and smoothly executed mission. One crucial aspect is assessing the level of medical urgency for an evacuation. Medevacs aren't just daring, they can be costly and come with potential risks depending on weather conditions and other factors. Generally, the best location for hoisting is a clear area to the back of the vessel, free of any smokestacks. Hoisting from the bow is also possible, but more challenging. Decisions are based on whether there is an immediate threat to life, limb, or eyesight, or if there's intense human suffering that transportation can relieve. It's all systems go. Medical support. In cruise ship Medevac missions, a medical pro often joins the patient, boosting the expertise of the crew. The go-to chopper for such high-stakes flights is the MH-65 Dolphin, a marvel with automatic flight control. It can hold steady just 50 feet above a target, which can be a game-changer when the weather's gone wild. Moreover, during search and rescue time, the MH-65 Dolphin can even follow preset routes, letting the crew stay sharp below. Guardians of life, masters of survival. Beyond the chopper and Medevac crew is a squad of highly trained individuals. They've got an impressive array of skills up their sleeves, perfect for tackling ocean currents in the icy Pacific waters. It's a mix of know-how, including dealing with hypothermia, staying safe in the current, mastering life vests, and all those nifty survival hacks. They like to call it wet training, a specialized form of training that covers everything from swim safety to emergency rescues, making sure our crew knows what to do when things get dicey. However, these guys aren't just saviors, they're masters of survival too. They undergo specialized training in Savannah, Georgia, specifically for situations where their helicopters might end up in the water. This training, named Shallow Water Egress Training, equips them with the skills needed to stay composed and use emergency equipment efficiently when escaping from an overturned helicopter in the water, especially from inside the cockpit. This training is their secret weapon, ensuring they're prepared for any situation, whether it's in the endless skies or the mysterious depths beneath the waves. What aspect of the vast ocean captivates you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more riveting insights and discoveries.